Mom, Lord. Hold on, let me introduce you to my mom. Call Mom Dukes. Hi. She's getting a drip with me. She's hydrating. What's up, Mom?
Everything's good, baby. Happy to meet you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you too.
Came out defending her son, man. How you feel about that? She made a comment saying that he's not a monster.
I guess this is my newfound career, so I'm gonna say what's on my mind and what I think, brother. First of all, that's his mother. Wrong, right, or indifferent, she gonna lie, steal, and protect her child. That's what she's supposed to do. But the apple don't fall far from the tree, man. You gotta realize that. You know, he didn't get all this from his daddy because he didn't know his daddy, even though they try to say his daddy was some big time drug dealer in the whole 9 yards. You understand? He didn't get this from his daddy. You gotta realize, man, you know, his mother had a modeling agency, and it was alleged that it was also ladies of the night, a prostitution ring too. Man was talking about that his mother could take her palms and bend over and put them down on the floor. Not bend over, but she could stand straight up and put her palms on the floor, bruh. He's saying that about his mother. Who describes any of their mother actions like that in a sexual way? And then, you know, I don't know how many dudes do kiss their mother in their mouth when they 50, 60 years old or something like that. That's them, that's their whole thing, man. But that was a little kind of weird for me. And then his mother wore the same white fingernail polish that Cassie described that he liked to see her and other models in when she was describing her lawsuit. And what's crazy to me is that, man, it seemed like him and his mother had this, I don't want to get too deep, man. And then you remember this, bro? Check it out. People tell off on themselves so much, man, and I don't understand when people don't catch it. Diddy has said this. He said, when I give a party, I have to have an ambulance outside of the house. Paramedics ready. That people have to take IVs. Remember the time that him and his mama kissed each other on the lips?
Yeah, I remember that video.
Do you remember that both of them was getting an IV at the same time?
Yeah, I did notice that, yep.
That's from the Diddy freak off party. And I'm gonna say allegedly.
So let me ask you this. You knowing her at one point, you knowing her personally, is she the kind of person that, you know, will be a part of a freak off or no?
I think that she liked to party and she party with young people. She's always been like that. She always copied or emulated Little Kim and Mary J. Blige. Or they emulated her. The blonde hair, the nails, the high boots, the age-appropriate, inappropriate relationship, whether it's physical or mental, with a mother and a son. So I'm looking at his mother and him on the couch, and both of them are getting IVs after one of the Diddy parties. Allegedly. I'm gonna say allegedly because I wasn't there and I didn't know. But they showed them both getting IVs on the couch. So my whole thing about this thing is that I'm not saying that she was ever at a freak off. She was ever at that type of party. But you can't tell me Miss Janice Combs, who was always at the regular parties, didn't know nothing about the freak off party.
I mean, they alleging that she was, you know, having freak offs.
I spoke to a man, Mr. Brown, who used to go to the freak offs. And this guy lives in Georgia right now. And he told me that he was a stick-up kid back in the day. And one time he had robbed one of their spots. And he went back and he had got the money and gave them their money back and everything like that. And he knew Miss Combs and he knew about her and her freak offs and everything like that. We had always thought that she had a modeling agency, but it wasn't a modeling agency. It was more of a brothel that she ran for high-profile drug dealers and athletes. You could tell by I could tell that Miss Combs at the time, and actually saw her like young guys. She came at me a couple of times back in my heyday, before the extra 75 pounds back then. And the reason I left Bad Boy wasn't only because of her advances, it was because I got tired of a lot of the... I was at City College. You understand? I was there. I was doing security. My team was supposed to have the outside. Puff came to me the day before we were supposed to do the job there and told me that Heavy D didn't want us to do the security outside. I had 18 men ready to do the security outside with my dogs, like I always do. People knew how we used to roll. We would have the pits, the Rockwilders, you understand? We had that outside locked up. So anybody try to bum rush, anybody do that, we had the gates, the whole 9 yards. So we could stop all that. You know how people gonna get down in Harlem. You understand? So, and then when you got LL Cool J, you got Mike Tyson coming through there, and they coming through the front door so people see them. So they gonna go crazy. LL was the hottest thing out at that time. Mike Tyson was the hottest thing out at that time. They got all kinds of stars and people in there already. They was coming through the back. They came through the front. And it caused the door to be bum rushed. But if they had the gates up, if they had the dogs, and with the help of the police, that shit would have never happened, bro. That shit would have never happened. I was there, I saw it. I saw Jessica run down the steps after she grabbed the money box because my man Eddie was protecting her. And Eddie's the one called me on the walkie-talkie and said, yo, Jessica just locked me in outside the gym, Gene. You couldn't go down the steps after they bum rushed the door. You understand? I had to run around the whole gym on the outside, around the gym, down the steps, run across the basketball court, and open the front door. When I opened that one door, because it pushed inside, people start squeezing through that. Then I just kept doing the doors, and people was coming in there, falling dead, right out, just falling out right there. And once they got in there, they just fell out. It was crazy, bro. He just wanted us to do inside the gym to make sure that nobody, be over the celebrities like that. That's what he wanted my team to do. But most of the celebrities gonna have their own security anyway. You know what I'm saying? That was just a way to cut our security off anyway. So he cut the security and he got the FOIs, and the FOIs left their post, and that's how the people bum rushed the door, and 9 people died by going down those corridors.
And you blame Diddy for that?
Yeah, I do. It's his fault.
50 Cent has confirmed that season 2 of his Diddy documentary is coming. And this time, the focus is not on Diddy himself. It is on his mother. Sean Diddy Combs, The Reckoning Season 2 is zeroing in on Janice Combs and her influence behind Bad Boy Entertainment. Unlike the first release, 50 Cent is going straight to YouTube with this one. Unfiltered, never-before-seen content, promising a sharper and more revealing inside look at the woman most people have never examined closely enough. And given that Janice has now responded publicly, denying the documentary's claims and calling them intentionally misleading, it is clear that whatever is in this season hits close enough to home to demand a response. Let's break down what we actually know. 50 Cent's first documentary on Diddy was executive produced alongside director Alex Stapleton and released on Netflix. It included footage of Combs strategizing with his lawyers in the days leading up to his arrest, footage of him greeting fans in Harlem, and a range of testimony from people connected to his world. Diddy's legal team sent a cease and desist demanding Netflix pull the series, with lawyers calling it a shameful hit piece that used stolen footage never authorized for release. Stapleton and 50 Cent both stated publicly that the footage was obtained legally and that the proper rights were in place. The series ran anyway. Season 2 goes deeper, and the primary subject is Janice Combs. To understand why this matters, you have to understand who Janice actually is in this story. Diddy's father was killed when he was very young. After that loss, Janice became the central figure in his upbringing and, allegedly, far more than that. She ran a constant social hub out of their Harlem home, people coming and going, gatherings that were a regular part of their domestic life from Diddy's earliest years. According to sources who appear in the documentary, including an alleged childhood friend of Diddy's, identified as hip-hop producer Tim Dog Patterson, these gatherings were not just ordinary parties. Patterson is documented in the Peacock portion of this documentary coverage, alleging that during parties at Diddy's childhood home, it was not uncommon for children present to walk into rooms where adults were engaged in sexual activity. He described it as simply what they were exposed to, what they were, in his words, fed. Gene Deal, who served as Diddy's longtime personal security and has been one of the most consistent public voices on the inside workings of Diddy's world, has spoken at length about the Janice dynamic. According to Deal, Janice made Diddy the man of the house after his father's death, placing a level of responsibility and expectation on him that shaped his development in fundamental ways. Deal's account of their relationship is pointed. He has described their bond as unusually intense, including specific behaviors that he characterizes as deeply abnormal. He has referenced a video where Diddy discussed his mother's physical flexibility in terms that Deal found inappropriate coming from a son about his mother, a moment where the two were shown kissing on the lips that generated widespread discomfort online, and footage of both of them receiving IV drips together on a couch following what appeared to be one of Diddy's parties. Deal's broader allegation, and he is clear that he is drawing from what he personally witnessed and what was known to people in those circles, is that Janice was not simply present at the regular parties and unaware of what else was happening. His position is that someone with her level of involvement in Diddy's world and his events would have had to know what the private gatherings entailed, even if she was not directly participating. There is also the allegation, described as coming from a source Deal spoke with, that Janice's modeling agency was not simply a legitimate business. The claim, which Deal presents as coming from someone who had direct knowledge, is that it functioned more as a high-end operation, catering to wealthy clients, including drug dealers and athletes. Janice has denied these characterizations entirely. Her statement to Deadline called the inaccuracies regarding her son's upbringing and family life intentional and designed to mislead viewers and damage their reputation. One of the most significant structural revelations in 50 Cent's documentary involves why Bad Boy Entertainment was not legally in Diddy's name to begin with. On December 28, 1991, Diddy co-hosted a celebrity charity basketball game at the gymnasium of City College of New York, alongside rapper Heavy D. The event drew an enormous crowd. People who could not get inside broke through, rushed the entrance, and poured down a staircase where the doors at the bottom opened inward, toward the stairs rather than away from them. The crowd could not push the doors open. 9 people were crushed to death. Dozens more were injured. No criminal charges were ever filed, but multiple lawsuits from victims' families followed. Gene Deal was working security at that event. He was supposed to have the exterior, but he says Diddy cut that arrangement the day before, opting instead for cheaper security that could not manage the crowd outside. Deal's position is unambiguous. He blames Diddy directly for the security failures that led to the tragedy. Whether that assessment is accurate or not, the legal exposure that followed was real and serious. According to what is alleged in the documentary, the reason Janice Combs holds legal ownership of Bad Boy Entertainment rather than Diddy traces directly to that night. Sources claim that Diddy structured the label's ownership around his mother, specifically to protect assets from liability. If victims' families or injured parties came after him legally, they would not be coming after him. They would be going after his mother's company. He would be the face, the talent, the public identity of Bad Boy. She would hold the paper. A commentator familiar with this corporate structure explained it simply. It is a paper trail built for deniability. You have nothing. Anyone coming for the assets has to go through her. It is a protection strategy, and it has held up for decades. This context reframes Janice's role entirely. She is not simply a proud mother who stood behind her son's success. According to what 50 Cent's documentary alleges, she is the legal owner of one of the most valuable entertainment brands in hip-hop history, a position that was engineered deliberately to shield Diddy from consequences. Diddy's response to 50 Cent's documentary has taken an interesting form. Rather than let the narrative sit, his sons Justin and Christian Combs have announced their own documentary through Zeus Network, teased in a trailer released in late December 2025. In the trailer, the two sit together watching headlines about their father cycle on a screen before Justin answers a collect call from Fort Dix Federal Correctional Institute, where Combs is currently serving time after being sentenced to 50 months on related convictions. No release date has been given for the Zeus series, but the teaser makes clear that Justin and Christian intend to present their own account of their family's experience. The credibility of that counter-narrative was complicated before it even launched. During Diddy's trial, both Christian and Justin appeared in court on separate occasions wearing shirts that read, "Free Sean Combs." Both times, the judge ordered them to leave and change. Beyond the optics, 50 Cent's Netflix documentary included footage of Diddy speaking directly to Justin about pushing certain content publicly to help manage the narrative around his case. That footage, combined with the timing of the Zeus announcement, has led many observers to read the Son's documentary as an extension of that strategy rather than an independent effort to tell their story. 50 Cent himself amplified the Zeus teaser on Instagram, noting publicly that he wanted to see the show and that he was not sure it was a good idea. Coming from 50, that framing functions as promotion while simultaneously signaling that he believes the counter-documentary only adds fuel to the broader conversation his own series is already driving. Where all of this lands right now is a genuinely contested space. Diddy is in federal custody. His sons are preparing their version of events. Janice Combs has denied the allegations publicly. 50 Cent's Season 2 documentary has not yet dropped, but the previews and leaks have already generated significant public reaction. What is not contested is that the legal exposure around the 1991 City College tragedy, the corporate structure of Bad Boy, and Janice Combs' role in it represent a thread in this story that has never been examined publicly at this level before. And 50 Cent has made very clear that Season 2 intends to pull on that thread as hard as it can. What do you think about the Janice Combs angle and everything that Season 2 is shaping up to reveal? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe so you do not miss the breakdown when the full documentary drops.